Good afternoon and welcome to the marketplace. Coming up, some banks attribute current pressure on Cedi to limited supply of dollars on the market by the Bank of Ghana. We'll tell you why, plus get you some analysis. Also in this bulletin, Register of Companies increases penalty for late filing of returns for companies from tomorrow, 1st May 2024, at 1,000 Ghana cedis for each month of delay. We are live with the Register of Companies. We ask, will there be a significant impact of Global's decision to end its operations in Ghana on May 10?
It won't be felt because you have other people within that space. So Global is leaving Ghana, they are going to Nigeria. Jumia has left Nigeria, they are in Ghana. So everybody and how they understand their market.
We have details of these and many others lined up for you. Please stay. All right, so that's the latest currency update, and on that, we are building up on that story. Some banks are attributing the current pressure on the cedi to limited supply of dollars on the market by the Bank of Ghana. My colleague George Yafi has been engaged in some of the commercial banks and has the rest of the story.
For some of these banks, the performance of the Ghana cedi is purely a demand and supply issue. Therefore, if there is limited supply of the currency, that results in businesses increasing the amount of Ghana cedis needed with the same value of a dollar. Just like how it's gone from the 13 Ghana cedis range to about 14 Ghana cedis, 20 pesos to a dollar, according to the Association of Forex Bureaus as of yesterday. Some of these banks maintain that there hasn't been the corresponding increase in dollars supplied by the Bank of Ghana for the market in relation to demand coming from businesses. The local currency, which recorded some marginal stability in the last week of April this year and earlier this month, has seen the pressure on the Ghana cedi come back again. In the last 2 weeks, some industry watchers have described the development as interesting, especially when the Cedi's depreciation earlier this year was linked to the perennial first quarter pressure on the local currency. It was expected that demand reduced after March this year. This is because at that time, most businesses that were demanding dollars to import might have finished with their transactions to aid those imports. Others have also raised questions about the limited supply of dollars coming from the Bank of Ghana, especially when the central bank is now in a strong position to better support the Ghana cedi because of improved dollar reserves.
Let's have a broader conversation on these assertions by the banks on the performance of the cedi, basically. Joining us via phone to do that is Senior Finance Lecturer at the University of Ghana Business School, Dr. Benjamin Amoa. Thanks so much, Dr. Amoa, for agreeing to speak to us on the marketplace. Now, the banks say the current pressure on the cedi is due to limited supply of dollars by the Bank of Ghana. And I want to know how true is that assertion?
Thank you very much. What we need to understand is that Bank of Ghana has never fully supplied forex request needs of banks. If you have watched it, you realize that at each point in time, Bank of Ghana will give a portion of what the banks will request in terms of forex. Then the banks will have to fall on their own networks and other supply side to get the dollar needs that the individual banks will need for clients' businesses. So it will be difficult for one to now say that it's simply the case the Bank of Ghana is not supplying enough. That is how come the cedi is depreciating. So that is one. Bank of Ghana does not and has never supplied all that is needed on the market. Two, we also have to situate the dollar within the global money or assets demand situation. As we speak now, the expectation for 2024 was that the U.S. Federal Bank will cut back on rates. What that means is that asset-backed, U.S. dollar asset-backed instruments will lose value or will not be attractive. But what we are seeing now is that instead of the rate cut, the Fed has held on to the relatively high rate. So what it means is that dollar-backed assets are more attractive on the market. So globally, there's a surge in demand for dollars. You should also not forget that if you observe the U.S. stock market, returns have been good compared to some few years. So there's interest and a push for U.S. dollar-backed assets. Ghana plays within that particular economy too because we need dollars for our international business.
All right.
If you put all this together, realize that it is not just about BOG not supplying enough because than that. It's simply both internal and external factors that are weighing down on the cedi.
I see. So to what extent can the pumping of more dollars by the central bank based on the request of these commercial banks help ease the pressure on the cedi?
Again, it will not work because the central bank will not supply all the forex needs of these banks. What we need to maybe appeal to the central bank, or you see the central bank doing is for the central bank to release more, but definitely not all that the banks need. And then two, the central bank will have to reconsider its forex supply to the BDCs. Because if we look into the demand for forex for international business, the BDCs are a major player within that particular segment. For the second quarter, BOG is promising $120 million. $120 million for the second quarter for BDCs is relatively way below what the BDCs will need. And if this goes onto the market, definitely the BDCs will have to plan for their own dollar supply to support their import for crude products. So once this signal goes onto the market, chances are that there will be a surge in the demand for dollars. So BOG may have to look at what the calendar in terms of how much they want to supply the BDCs. The 120 million for second quarter will not be enough. They may have to, in the midst of what is happening, looking at the weak state of the cedi, may have to adjust the $20 million promise, the BDCs. So at least once it eats up to maybe about 40 or 50 million per each auction, it can ease down the pressure on the Ghana cedi a bit.
And I'll build on that. I want to know what you foresee happening in the coming days if steps are not taken to address the pressure we are seeing on the cedi, as you also await the $360 million from the IMF. I don't know what that would be in terms of impact on the local currency.
Okay, one, we should know that in election years, our cedi has some not too good performance, that is historically. So we expect that to happen. Two, we also forecasted at the beginning of the year that the cedi was going to trade between 13.85 to about 14 cedis to $1. And so this trend that is emerging is not too strange from our point of view. What we need to do, and again, it boils down to BOG because it's the responsibility of BOG to make sure that the currency is stabilized for business purposes. And so BOG will have to look at what they've done in the past that brought that relative stability. And then try in the midst of the global happening, do what they can do to help support the Ghana cedi. But from where we are sitting and from what we see now, we are going to end the year with about 13.85 Ghana cedis to $1.
I see. Thank you so much, Dr. Benjamin Amoa. We are grateful speaking to us here on Marketplace. Thank you so much, sir. Let's stay a while longer within the economy and, of course, financial matters. And companies and businesses that have delayed in filing their annual returns will, from tomorrow, May 1, 2024, be paying more as a penalty. This was after the Registrar of Companies announced an increase in the penalty from 650 Ghana cedis to 1,000 cedis for every month for firms and enterprises that have failed to file their returns for last year. Let's get onto Zoom and speak to the Registrar of Companies, Madam Jemima Wari, to help us understand what all these mean to us. Thanks so much, Madam, for agreeing to speak to us on Marketplace. Good to see you.
Good to see you too, sir.
All right, so first off, help me understand why you are increasing the penalty for businesses that have failed or wouldn't want to file their returns by the end of the day today. Of course, tomorrow is 1st May.
It is more of a requirement under the law, not because the Registrar of Companies wants to increase the penalty. If you go by Section 126(7) of the Companies Act, it specifically states that every year or 18 months after incorporation, you mandatorily have to file your annual return, and not only that, attach your financial statements. Now, it's possible that you are not even in operation for one reason or the other, because maybe you haven't gotten the contracts you need, and you still have to come and file the annual return and update us on the current information on the company. And the administrative penalty stated there is, for you not doing that, 25 penalty units for each day that you default and not filing the return. That's about 300 Ghana cedis for each day.
Yeah.
Look at this. Also states it's against the company and every officer of the company. And that's very punitive if you compare that. So if we're going by that mechanism, we're talking about 9,000 cedis for each month. And that is just too much. And so we are even breaking it in bits. We started off from 300 Ghana cedis penalty units. We raised it gradually. And now it's gone to 1,000, and it's going to be every month it will be accumulated just to ensure that it serves as a deterrence. It is not that the ORC wants to just increase penalty for penalty's sake. That is the law. And it's to serve as a deterrence. When it's so low, you don't take it, they take it for granted.
I see. So even if we consider using that as a punitive action to, more or less deter, recalcitrant, so to speak, firms that wouldn't want to file their returns. But again, realistically, looking at the economic environment and what have you, businesses are complaining about, the hardship they find themselves in. Do you think that one increase from 650 to 1,000 is fair, really?
It's not a matter of even fairness. I agree, it's punitive. I agree, but that is the law. This is not the ORC just increasing fees. This is what the law states. And my flouting the law, I also have issues. So I would prefer, and that's actually what I prefer, that companies would file on time. So you don't even have to pay this money. Because if you file on time, if you get your auditors to get your books prepared on time, get your company secretary to file your documents on time, you will not need to pay this money. The filing fee is just 100 Ghana cedis for a year to file an annual return. It's just 100 Ghana cedis. So if you do things on time, you pay 100 Ghana cedis for a year.
And let's go through your files and see how many companies are likely to fall prey to this.
So I've been talking from the beginning of the year. Now we have about over 8,000 companies that by the end, what it is from May 1st, it will come into force, but implementation, I'll push it to June 1st. Okay. So it's coming to force May 1st, but I'll give companies 1 month for implementation. So from June 1st, that is when we'll start striking companies up. So between now and June 1st, anybody who knows that their accounts are not up to date, they should make every effort to file it. Also, the annual returns, they should make sure they update us of the current information on it. Then from June, we'll also send out SMS notices to all these companies, give you one last chance. So that shows you that we are not that keen on collecting that money. We're more interested in making you aware of your responsibilities under the Act than for you to comply with it. That's what actually this whole thing is about.
Madam Awari, help me understand this. I don't know whether you've embarked on this exercise, but to what extent have you sought to find out why businesses feel reluctant to, comply with this directive?
Okay, first of all, many of them register without even understanding the requirements under the Companies Act. They have Yes, they just register because possibly they need a contract or, a visa or any reason. I mean, it's not really because they really want to register a company and go by its requirements. So they have secretaries who don't even understand what it is to file an annual return. They pick up the auditor's letters from our office without even knowing who their auditors are. So when it gets to the points like this is the time they are now even finding their documents. So clearly, such companies must not be on the register. They are just not serious. And so you can make this effort so that those who are really serious actually come and file. So all those that don't come by 1st June, I take it that they are not interested in carrying on business with those names in Ghana. And so we'll take it off. Anytime they are ready, they can come back on it. And that should be within 12 years. They can go to any court and ask that their names are brought back onto the register.
Then I guess fundamentally, we are getting it wrong right from the onset when businesses do not know the relevance of, filing their annual returns and the repercussions that comes along with it. So where exactly would you lay the blame and how do we fix it?
How do I say it? You cannot do something that you don't investigate about. Right from the onset, you want to register a company, about what is even involved in registering a company. For instance, you can't register just a business name without necessarily registering a company. A business name just takes you 100 Ghana cedis to register. You don't need directors, you don't need a secretary, you don't need auditors, you don't need to file annual returns, you don't need to file financial statements, and yet you can carry on business very well in Ghana. But everybody gets up, I want to register a company. It is a very serious business. So if you know that you are not ready for it, don't register it. So all those who registered, and I've given this last chance, if you don't come by 1st June, then we'll take it off. Then we'll have only those that are serious who want to carry on business properly as a company in Ghana on the register. And we'll continue doing it. It's not just one time. It will be a continuous affair until we prune down the numbers on the register and have those that are serious about doing business as a company in Ghana.
And one more thing before we let go of you. Tell me about the development in relation to customers of Black Shield Fund Management. What has become of it? I know the matter is still pending in court. What's the latest on that?
Stay of execution has been filed by the lawyers of Black Shield, and we have responded to it. It's been moved to a new court, so we'll be hearing the matter. Depending on whatever the ruling is, then we can continue with the case. But as it is, it's still in court. And until we get a ruling, we cannot get them onto the bailout package that government puts in place for all its investors of the various fund management companies. So until that time, we can't really help.
Thank you so much, Madam Jemima Wari. We are indeed grateful speaking to us on the marketplace. This is still the marketplace with me, Pius Kojo Baka. To some other stories, Glovo, a prominent food delivery platform, has announced its decision to end its operations in Ghana on May 10, despite significant investment in the last 2 years to expand their services, basically. But the company conveyed this development to its network of restaurant partners via email, attributing its decision to profitability issues encountered within the Ghanaian market. Glovo explained that it will shift its focus towards consolidating its presence in other African markets, including Morocco, Uganda, Kenya, Cote d'Ivoire, and Nigeria. But responding to the issue in an interview I had with technology analyst, digital communications professional Magnus Amegbeto, said Glovo's exit would not make any significant impact in the food and service delivery system.
Well, it's because you have other people within that space. Me, sometimes during lunchtime, I drive, just leave the office because you want to take some break. Drive, pick a friend, we'll go and have lunch and come back. Or he comes to pick me, we'll go and have lunch. Or we visit a friend in the office, we'll go for lunch together. So that communal, culture is also there. But unless it's raining, if it's raining, you can also order food, right? Everything comes to order. When it stops, then you can also order the food. And you also want to have control over who is preparing the food, how are they packaging it, how is it being delivered, how soon will I get the food? Okay, there's an emergency, so I can cancel the food and eat on my way to wherever I'm going. So there are a lot of complex issues. You see, so Glovo is leaving Ghana, they are going to Nigeria. Jumia has left Nigeria, they are in Ghana. So everybody and how they understand their market. In Nigeria, there's what they call Chodek. Chodek is also one of the profitable food delivery services in Nigeria. They made about 1.2 million in terms of revenue or sales in Nigeria. The same period, Global was, Jumia was there. They made almost $62 million, but they didn't see themselves as profitable, but they have to shut down. Somebody is making 1.2 and they think it's profitable. So it depends on your business model. And of course, inflation, economic downturn, and cost of food and the rest have also compounded that too as well. So for me, it's the model. And then it's the people who ride the motorbikes, they are not well paid. So sometimes they are disincentivized to continue. So if Maximus can call me to deliver something for him in Adaraka, and I'll make more money than taking a food delivery for Global, I'll opt for the high profitability side of it and leave the low, profit margin one. So it's a whole lot of factors.
Kenya Airways says it is working to explore opportunities to extend operations to the newly Kumasi airport. The airport is expected to start operations in June this year. According to the Group Chief Executive Officer of Kenya Airways, the company will commence engagement with relevant stakeholders in Ghana to ensure a seamless operations. He was speaking at a media engagement.
Fortunately, the Ghanaian authorities also look at us favorably because they see the kind of effort and time we are taking to develop this market. Then you have a lot of talent. The Ghanaian people are very talented, particularly in aviation, so we don't have problems identifying people who can work with us and work for us in growing the market. So, and as far as Kumasi is concerned, yes, in fact, the request was put to us today to consider it, and we just need to go back and work out on how, not if, how we can operate some frequencies from Kumasi and to fulfill that, because what we do, what is commercially viable, and from what we have seen, the back of the envelope analysis demonstrates that there is a commercial viability in operating from Kumasi. We already brought the 2 freighters, so they're already with us. Of the 5, 2 are already been brought in. Then the other 2 are coming in June, just before the high season. And the last one is going to come in Q4 of this year. That is an additional Dreamliner.
In more business news, some experts have emphasized the importance of humans leveraging their distinct attributes such as intuition, reasoning, and memory to maintain relevance in the evolving landscape of artificial intelligence. They argue that by enhancing these skills, individuals can unlock their full potential and thrive in a world where both humans and machines coexist. A digital rights and inclusion forum in Accra has been explored the potential of AI to drive local economic growth and enhance Africa's global standing, particularly in sectors like agriculture, job creation, and healthcare. Mohammed Nuruddin has more.
At the 11th Digital Rights and Inclusion Forum in Accra, a fireside dialogue hosted by the Public and Private Development Center (PPDC) facilitated discussions among speakers from Ghana, Nigeria, South Africa, and Kenya. While there are concerns regarding AI potentially replacing human labor, speakers at the forum agreed that it presents an opportunity for humans to focus on higher level thinking, reasoning, and professional pursuits.
So the same applies to AI. It's a tool. If we build it right, it will serve us a good purpose. If we build it wrongly, it serves a bad purpose. So I don't think that issue with responsibility with AI had to do with the technology itself.
President of IoT Network Hub Africa, Joshua Bokwajimai, emphasizes the importance of humans tapping into their imagination, intuitions, and reasoning abilities which machines lack to maintain a competitive edge over AI tools.
I think this future we are looking at is created by human, and it was created through our imagination. And I think the more we can be human, the more we have a role to play in the future. What I mean by being human is that there are some qualities of us. We have imagination. Machines don't have that, and they'll never have imagination. So it's a tool we have to start exercising it. We have intuition. Machines will never have intuition, no matter how intelligent they get. These are innate of what makes it human. We have reasoning. They might be able to crunch numbers and data. It doesn't mean they are thinking. So they will not be able to reason because they don't have that ability in them yet. We have memory capacity to collect data with our senses, our eyes, our ears. If we can develop this innate ability of ours, we're always going to be better than machine.
Joshua further says that humans possess the capacity to envision and construct a better world, a capability that enables them to create AI tools and ensures their enduring relevance in the world.
We also have perception. The way we change or we see things, our perception needs to be developed, and finally we have a willpower. If we realize machines are going to take over us, we have the power to imagine a better world and build it, because that's what makes it human. And that's how far we come with these tools that we have with us. So I think, yes, we're always going to have a place, but the question is how many of us would always be part of this future, right? So I don't know what the future will hold, but there's a lot of things that are uncertain and unpredictable with these emerging technologies.
That's all in this package by way of Marketplace. I am Pius Kojobaka. For more stories, do log on to myjoyonline.com/business. See you same time tomorrow. Bye-bye.